What up, guys? It's Phil with Phil's Lawn Care.
Hey, it's Aaron with the Mowing in the Dark Lawn Care Podcast.
Hey guys, Cameron here with the Lawn Care Life of Missouri.
Hey everyone, this is Evan with Turf Nerds, a lawn care podcast.
Hey guys, this is Dan White with Lawn Care Unscripted.
And you're listening to the Lawn Care Talk with Tony Rudolph.
What's up, guys? I got a friend of mine on the phone today, like a real life friend. He's semi-local, not really. He's been on the podcast before. I mean, he's kind of local. He's much more local than compared to a lot of you guys that are listening out there. He's probably an hour and 20 minutes away or something. Awesome guy, friend of mine. Need to get up there and actually see him a little more often in real life. But sorry I have not really made a podcast this week. Been crazy busy with the business and stuff. And I need to. It's been hot too. Not as hot as last week, but it's been toasty. I need some crop top Lake Country lawn care shirts, but I don't have any of those in stock. So we are going with our normal ones. But Mr. Wesley, how you doing this morning? Thanks for coming on.
Hey Tony,
Saturday morning.
Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean it's been a fun weekend. Did you guys go out last night? We were actually one of our customers' neighbor got us into Great Waters last night for those fireworks, and that was cool.
Oh, nice.
That was
Nice.
They spend some money to do that, and that was nice. That was really cool. I never actually been in there like when it's when I actually seen the fireworks up close. So that was cool. We did that.
I know they spared no expense.
Yeah, and that was neat. That was really neat. It took a long time to get out of there, but just a lot of cars and stuff like that. But and what else has been going on recently? So starting to hunt, guys. This kind of brings us to our subject for today because he was going to come on and help us or share some of his truck experiences when it comes to lawn care. And I think that those of us, I mean, it can be very easy to fall into the trap of that, that first successful year in business, like Corey Ballard says, and you go out and you get the $100,000 dually with the stacks. But we have to be very careful with that because we're just basically destroying a lot of our profits doing that, of something that's going backwards in value, not like our house or anything like that. So he's going to, share some experiences of his opinions and some ones that he's had and does have and stuff like that. So that'll be cool. It's really neat, and it's a cool thing. We're actually working on getting my wife something newer right now as we speak. So talk a little bit about like trucks you've had, like even when you started, and kind of ones and maybe some ones that you think a guy should buy right now. Maybe he's newer in business. He doesn't have $1 million. You know what I mean? Kind of talk about this.
Yeah, man, I'm a truck guy. I've had one or multiple of every brand, and over the course of the last 20 years, I feel like there's certain engines you can buy and have a fairly reliable powertrain, and then there's some off the top you're going to get it and you're going to have problems. So going through the years, I think you look back to like early 2000s, you had Ford had some decent gasoline engines back then in a 3/4 ton. 5.4 was okay. It had some cool problems, but overall it was pretty good. And Chevrolet had a 6.0 in their 3/4 ton gas, and I think it's one of the best gasoline engines that they've ever put in a 3/4 ton. Really solid engine. And they never did the active fuel management on the 6.0. It was only on the 5.3 and of course the 6.2 after that.
Right.
I mean, I think as time has passed, gasoline engines have gotten better as well. Now Chevy has a 6.6 gasoline, Ford has a 7.3, and I think at this point in time, there's so many issues with diesels. A lot of people have decided to keep it simple and buy a gasoline truck, especially if you're buying a heavy duty truck. So
I think that, I mean, there's definitely some merit to that. I think, if you're a hot shot driver or you need this, long pull over the road type of thing, I feel like that's really where a diesel is really made for that. You know what I mean?
I'm with you there. I mean, you get I always tell people that talk to me about trucks, if you're towing an hour away from your house every day, But diesel's probably a good option. You're going to be able to keep it hot. You're going to be able to keep the diesel particulate filter fairly clean. Probably a lot less issues than a guy that's bumping around town, stopping, mowing yards, and that type thing.
And then the, I know like in the Fords, the 3-valve 5.4 has many more issues than the 2-valve. The 2-valve one was like
the 2-valve,
the
2-valve is a much better engine. I feel like I do think a 3-valve gets with the internet at our disposal, we always hear about anything negative, but we hardly hear much positive. So I think issues get compounded on forums and online. That could sway a lot of people's opinion. The 3-valve, I know they use them in a lot of taxis in big cities, New York, Philadelphia, stuff like that, and they racked up many miles. And I think overall that mod engine Ford had, I think it was a good engine, and because of the internet, it caused it to seem as though it wasn't as good as it was. But overall, there's many of them still running today.
Yeah, I mean, I had one. I had a 3-valve.
I remember you had the white F-250.
Yeah.
Right?
And I personally didn't have problems with it. But, I mean, if I was going to buy... All right, so, guys, if I were out there, let's say you have $8,000 and you're going to buy a pickup truck. Well, I think right now, today, or $6,000, whatever you have when you're starting or whatever, I would say it would be much better to get a mid-2000s 6-liter Chevy or GMC or whatever. Yeah. I feel like that would be, I mean, yes, the 3-valve, it could be okay, but I just feel like you're better off looking for one of those like older 6-liters like that.
Tony, I actually have a 2006 Chevy 2500 that currently has about 302,000 miles on it. It's a 6-liter. Original transmission, 4L80, original engine. I did put an oil pump in it at about 225,000 oil pressure. The design on the oil pump, it has a spring. When the spring wears out, it recirculates oil through the oil pump rather than pumping it to the engine.
Oh, I gotcha.
I started getting a little bit of tick, a little bit of knock, and come to find out I had low oil pressure. I actually put the oil pump in myself. It was one of the biggest jobs I had done on a vehicle at the time, and I was hoping I could get the truck back together, but all went well. The truck is still currently running. To your point, if you have $6,000 to $8,000 to spend on a used work truck, you're going to be hard pressed to beat a 6.0 in a Chevy or GMC pickup truck.
Also, guys, I feel like out there, so like with the Dodges, the Hemi engine's always been good, but they had it. I've had so many family members that have had, and even my grandfather's had the Dodge trucks like since the 70s, right? And he's bought, he's had many of them over the years, and the transmissions were definitely a huge issue. But after 2003, it's a total redesign. No real problems. Which I think that body style is super ugly. But let's say you got like a 2004 or 5 or something, some kind of like that. That's before the 4-cylinder shutoff thing, but after the new transmission. So you guys out there, let's say you get a 04, 05, 06, some kind of Ram 1500, 2500, that also would be a good option in the low price range.
And Tony, on the Dodges, I didn't mention much about Dodge, but I know we're getting a little bit old here, but 95, 96, 97, 98, even early 2000s, they still had a 318 V8 and a 360 V8 that was very, very good.
Very good. Yeah, I have 2 family members that have probably 300,000. That old body style, like you're saying, the 90s.
Right.
But the downside with those is it does have that
Walker Texas Ranger truck.
Yeah, it does. Just like we mentioned though, that style, they do have that old transmission. I mean, the engine be amazing. So that's why I feel like that kind of sweet spot is kind of the older Hemi, but the new transmission, which I feel like, again, I feel like they're maybe even a slightly uglier than the Walker Texas. I really don't like any of the Dodge trucks before the one that I have, whatever that is, 4th generation or something. Like as far as just like the looks, but I could learn to like. I kind of like any truck of any brand at the same time. So, but I'm just saying, guys, that definitely could be an option. And even like you're saying, even with the older 318, if it's a 2-wheel drive, they're not it wouldn't be the end of the world if you had to rebuild that transmission. You know, if it's 4-wheel drive, it's a little more expensive.
Dodge is just for so many years they've struggled building a transmission. They've really had a time. They went from a 48 RE and then a 68 RFE and the newer 3/4 tons. They just, and even those, so they 2011 to Dodge hadn't changed their body style in so long, but the 4th gen Dodge would have been on the 3/4 ton side would have been like 2010 to 2018, I think it was. And throughout those years, the transmission never changed. They finally put an 8-speed behind the Hemi in the 3/4 ton, I think around 2019 or so. And I think it's a much better unit.
Yeah. But I'm saying the old one, though, it went away. I know on the half tons, right around that 2003, 2004. You know, I don't know about the 3/4 ton. I mean, my truck.
Yeah, I'm a little less versed in the half ton than I am the 3/4 ton.
My truck, I think, is a 5-speed. It's a 2009. I mean, it has obviously the new one. And,
Right.
I mean, that thing, you know, it's still original one, and it's however old that is now. I mean, that's a long time. And for 8 years, I've pulled a trailer every day with it. So,
Yeah.
So anyway, but still, like, you know, guys out there, I mean, maybe try to buy that Chevy 6-liter if you can.
And they also put an 8.1 behind some of them, and they came with an Allison transmission. So if you can find that package, that's
in the 3/4 tons.
very solid. Yeah,
He's talking about
very
the
solid
Chevys,
package.
the older Chevys, 8.1. That thing, it's a big engine. Also, you know, guys out there that, you know, people have pretty good luck with, like, the older mid-2000s Ford, the V10 one, you know what I'm saying, the gas one?
V10 was decent. Yeah.
I feel like that might be, I mean, gas mileage obviously would be horrible, but if you're pulling a trailer and stuff, your gas mileage is not really a big factor anyway, because once you put something behind it, I don't know. But like I feel like that might be a better option to get the V10 than to get a 3-valve 5.4, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I've talked to many guys who have. I've never owned one, but I've talked to many that have, and they said it does get, the gas mileage is terrible, but it doesn't change when you hook a trailer.
Right.
So you're kind of at square one.
Yeah, I mean, my brother-in-law has one. He has one in an Excursion, you know, and it's pretty cool.
Tony, the dually your dad bought, what does it have in it?
It's a 6.2 gas.
6.2. And that's 6.2 is a good engine. Really good engine.
Yeah, I mean, that's a 2016, and then he has a 2017, also with a 6.2 gas in the 250, you know what I mean?
6.2 is very reliable. I think they had some minor valve spring issues in the early ones, and after that, not many problems to speak of on that 6.2. Very solid.
Yeah, I like it. It's quiet. I mean, I think it's good for what it is. He's got. So there's a very common thing. I'm trying to remember what it has, like a name like MIPS or something like that. The air intake on top is making a little chattering noise. It has like doors in there.
It's the flappers inside of the intake.
Yes. Yeah. So
yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Both of his are. Well, actually, the 2016 doesn't make any noise. The 17.
They changed the intake design in 17. I know that for sure. And also, and I've watched a few videos on this. Somehow you can unplug the actuator that actuates those and keep the noise to a minimum.
Yes.
I'm not sure about that. It's vague in my memory, but I remember reading something about it.
Well, so you want those air channels to be operational. To go on, you know, close and open. And so when we bought the truck, I looked that up and unplugged it, climbed up on the back of the motor and unplugged it there at the little dealership, and that noise went away. So that I was like, okay, so at least we kind of know what it is, right?
Right.
But, you know, it's going to damage like your catalytic converters and stuff, like if you just run it like that, because some of the doors would stay closed. You know what I mean? If
Tony,
it's unplugged.
I know for sure that there are a few tuners that are able to go inside. I don't remember the programming that Ford uses. I think it's called oh man, I can't think of it right now. It's their computer program that you can go in and shut things on and off. There's some tuners you can buy a tune to shut them, either keep them open or keep them closed, and they tune the truck so that it can run properly without using those.
Right, yeah. That is a good idea too, but we're probably going to end up I'm going to help Dad with it. We're going to pull all that off and find which, door is broken, or whatever.
Right.
We might,
I got
worst case scenario, we have to replace that whole intake thing.
For many years, it was on back order. Nobody could even get one.
I got you.
I'm sure that's not the case now. I think that was more during COVID, but
yeah, and
I've had several 6.2 trucks, and they've all been great. The only problem I have with Ford is the ride quality. I mean, without a trailer, they just, even on a 3/4 ton, not even a 1 ton, they ride terrible. Our roads here are awful. So the Chevrolet GMC 3/4 ton with the independent suspension on the front seems to do a much better job, like toting your family around. Maybe not quite as tough long term, but the ride quality is definitely better.
Oh, I would agree. I mean, both those ones Dad have, especially that dually, with no trailer on there. Oh man, you're in for a ride. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you put a trailer on it, and it changes the game.
Yeah.
Sure.
It kind of seems like it's meant to drive around with a trailer on it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But yeah, those are good options. I mean, my dad, he paid I think he paid like maybe 18 or something for his dually many years ago. And it had, I don't know, 180,000 miles on it or something. And then the one that he has, the 2017, he paid like 12 or 13,000 for that one. And I mean, he loves both of them. He had an 06 GMC with the gas motor back in the day. He's had maybe 3 different of those, the old 7.3 diesel. I mean, he's had a lot of trucks over my years. He had those, like the old, late 80s, early 90s bunch of those, like Ford F-250s and stuff back when I was a kid,
Yeah, and some of those older engines were great too. They just, as time has went on, it's so hard to find one with low mileage, like say like an inline 6 in an F-250. Those were a lot of the municipal cities and counties had a lot of those trucks, and you could find one back 10, 15 years ago, but they're almost impossible to find in okay shape now.
Yeah, sorry about that noise. My daughter took off with the power wheels out of here at the garage, and so it might have been loud for a second. I muted it as soon as I could, but you probably heard like a weird plastic wheel spinning sound.
One we haven't talked about, Tony, the Ford F-150 and the 5.0, that seems to be a fairly solid platform as well. I've never owned one, but everything I've read and talked to people about says it's pretty good.
Yeah, the Coyote, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, the Coyote, to try, and at this point in the Expeditions F-150s, you got 2 options. You can either get, I don't even think in the Expeditions you can get the 5.0. I think 3.5 EcoBoost is all you can get.
Which is why I decided against buying an Expedition, because I was really wanting to, but you cannot get the Coyote. Like you're saying, it only comes with that EcoBoost, and long term, I don't know if I'm brave enough to buy one of those.
What really bothers me about Ford is the EcoBoost started, I don't know the exact year, maybe 2013 or so. They've had problems since the beginning, and it continues to have problems. If you buy one, you're going to have to replace the cam phasers. You're going to have to do things at certain miles. It's not an engine that's going to last long term.
Yeah, I mean, it would be fine if you're one of these kind of people where you drive it for 3 or 5 years and trade it in, and and it was brand new or whatever. I mean, it probably would be fine for that. And I think it is a cool idea because you're forcing more power into a smaller engine, and you get good gas mileage, all that. Like if you're just driving around, going to the grocery store and stuff, that is cool. So like, it is a cool concept. But like you're saying, you got like all kinds. You got turbo wastegates. There's a lot of things that could.
So many more problems that can arise.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a real adventure. Even if you buy one of those with low miles, you know what I'm saying? It could be interesting.
And you pair that with a 10-speed that has been notorious for having on and off issues. So you got something that and I think now on new cars they're giving like a 36,000 mile warranty.
Oh wow, that's nothing.
That's not a lot when you consider what's going on. And back to Ford, so since 2011 when they came out with a 6.7 diesel, They've been putting the same injection pump in that truck. It's a CP4 injection pump. They
That's a
know
big
they
problem
know
as
it
well,
has
right?
problems
Yeah.
because Chevy had it in their LML Duramax. Ford has had it since 2011, and even to this day, they still put the CP4. And I think they've changed it some, but initially it had ceramic parts inside of it. I know even some of the turbos on their early 6.7s had ceramic bearings in the turbo. A plastic oil pan on the early 6.7s. I mean,
Oh, wow.
just stuff that's just not, I don't know. When you think about heavy duty, I don't think about a plastic oil pan.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting. So, but a lot of people do like that engine. But like you're saying, I mean it's there's several people that would say if you're going to buy one of those, plan exactly what you mentioned. Like people that know a lot about them are saying if you buy one of these, maybe upgrade that CP4 thing right away when you buy it.
Sure.
And
You just hate to spend as much money as
Yeah.
new vehicles are costing and immediately have to come home and say, okay, I'm going to put a DCR pump in this truck because I don't want the CP4 to explode.
Yeah, and that is
Yeah.
a crazy thing for me. So someone even used, they're going to spend $30,000 on this truck, then bring it home. Immediately, they need to spend $5,000 or $10,000, upgrades if you really want it to be good. You know what I mean? Like this just,
Yeah, it makes zero sense. I think that's why so many, and that's why the big manufacturers have continued to put a lot of money in research on some of these newer gasoline engines because so many people are tired of all the, you have to have a big pocketbook to own a diesel after it, gets out of warranty.
oh yeah,
There's so many things that that's gonna, if that CP4 explodes, you're gonna be replacing the whole fuel system, $10,000, $12,000, $13,000 minimum. You're gonna be in a situation where you could have put two engines in a gasoline truck.
right. Not to mention,
And
way more
Yeah, go ahead.
people would be available. Way more people would have enough knowledge, whatever, because some of you guys are there, if you don't work on anything yourself, way more shops are going to be way more inclined to take care of something on a gas engine than, a diesel. It's just, like, if you have to get something repaired, it's going to be a lot more on a diesel. Would you agree with that, just in general?
Yeah, it's I noticed. So I raised cows as a just a hobby more or less. I have about 30 mama cows, give or take, and the biggest difference I've seen, I go to the stockyard over down by you in Greensboro, and sometimes I go over to Washington, and there's a lot of old guys who have been farming their whole life, and back 10, 15 years ago, you only saw them in a diesel pickup truck, and now you go pull up in the parking lot, and you're seeing so many more gasoline trucks because they're tired of the crap that's coming on them as well. They just want to get stuff done. They don't want to have to work on their truck all the time.
Right. I agree. A question I had for you, because I think, like on my dad's ones, and my last 3/4 ton was that 06 one. So guys, quickly run down my list of shot fire, and you can do the same thing just to show them that we're not like just saying things. So my first truck ever, when I was 15 years old, about a 94 Ford F-150 with the 300 straight six. That was a great truck. Second, super bad on gas though, especially if you're riding around just doing whatever as a teenager. Anyway, but so I had that. I bought it even before I could drive it was for sale in front of this gas station. Anyway, you guys don't care about that. Okay, rapid fire. That's not rapid fire. So I bought that truck. Second car, wanted something a little more because I was traveling all around Southeast racing RC cars. I bought a 92 Toyota 4Runner with whatever the V6 that has. Odometer had been rolled back. That was an adventure, but I still, replaced transmission, replaced some things, and that was an excellent car. Then after that, I bought a 94 F250 5-speed international diesel non-turbo.
Idea.
Yes, that also was a great truck. It had there's just one part of the clutch pedal that would fall out randomly at stop signs. Hang on a second. Power wheel's going by. Sorry, hit the wrong button. That wasn't the mute button. That was a sound button. Anyway, so I had that. Are you still with me? Did I screw something up?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No,
Okay. So
I was just I'm gonna intercept for 1 second. I have a 97 dually that I pull containers with. Currently Friday the clutch pedal fell out and we had to order the whole assembly because there's something under there that wears out. We've had many issues. It's exactly the same thing you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, I had it happen several times. I don't know if it's like a design thing or something, because I had the truck maybe 4 years, and I think it fell out maybe 3 times. Just like going around town mowing with it and stuff. It's weird. It has this little. It's just weird. It's a weird setup. I'm
It
not
is.
super well versed, on
I know exactly what you're
old
talking about. They
school.
actually make a kit now that fixes the problem.
Okay.
If it's
Well,
not too far gone, it's an they change the some of the parts to aluminum instead of plastic, and you're able to fix it. Anyways, continue.
yeah. So I had that. Then I had a '98. So after that, I sold it for pretty much what I paid for. I kind of regret selling that truck. It's very rare now, to even find one of those. I mean, it poured every fluid so badly out of that thing. And some of that is, like those old diesels like that. Like it's, man. Anyway, so I sold that, and then I was like, I'm going to go back to a gas truck. I bought a 98 F-150 four-wheel drive. It looks like a single cab white. It looks like a little game warden truck. You know what I mean? I had that, and that was cool. V6, whatever the Ford V6. Junk as well, but okay. Actually, I mean, I like it. Good on gas, quiet. Like it pulled a lawn trailer around fine. Small lawn trailer. I drove it for probably 50 to almost 100,000 miles. I sold it at a little over 200,000 miles. My uncle bought it, but he has put 2 to 3 more of those engines in it since he bought it from me. Does that make sense?
Wow.
They they hydrolock. It's a big problem. My brother had the same one, same thing. It actually happened to him while he owned it. I mean, I sold him Uncle's perfect. I mean, he ran it for many years after that, but he did end up having that problem with the engine. Anyway, so I had that. After that, I bought that '06 that you know about, two-wheel drive, work truck, basic
Yeah, I
thing.
remember seeing that one in some of your first videos
Yeah.
you did on YouTube.
Had that, and then I had an '07 Chevy 408, work truck as well. They use in lawn care. I wish I didn't sell that truck, but because it still had, no AFM or anything. Like it was right before that happened. All that happens in '08. Okay, so in the half tons, I had that truck, and then. And my wife had a '98 Expedition when we were dating, and of course we have this Tahoe, '07 Tahoe right now, and we had a Nissan Altima 2009. And then, but after those trucks, the only reason why I ended up selling that Chevy or that Ford is because when we started having kids, even the extended cab on the Ford, like baby seats do not fit back there. So then I bought this Ram that I have, which is it's an adventure for sure, but the so this one I have now is a 2009 with hang on a second, Power Wheels come by. Will, if you're gonna drive by, you're doing fine. You're just doing what you're doing. I'm just trying to mute it when you drive by because that thing's loud. Yeah. Okay. So then I had the Ram 57 '09 Hemi whatever. And then here we are. Here we are today. So do you want to list off the ones that you had?
Oh man, if I try to list mine, Tony, there's a very long list. I went through quite a many of trucks, but I've had anything from my very first truck was a Ram 1500. I think it was a '97 model 318 4-wheel drive. Went from that to what's the next truck, and then I got the '06 that currently has 300,000. Me and my wife bought that truck right after we got married. It was 2009. It was a 2006. I think it's fully loaded leather 4-door, really, really nice truck. I think we paid $16,300 for it. It was the first vehicle we had ever financed at the time.
Is it is it 4-wheel drive? What color is it? That
Yeah,
kind of thing.
it's a white LT. I don't think they had LTZ in '06. I think they called it like an LT Plus package. So it has a sunroof, a leather interior,
Oh, wow.
four full doors. Spray and bed liner. It was an extremely nice truck. I remember the day I got it, and man, you couldn't tell me anything. It was so nice.
Is it a GMC or the Chevy version?
It's the Chevy version, the cat eyes. Most
Okay.
people
Yep.
call
Yep.
it.
Oh yeah, those are. I think those are. I like those a little better. I mean, it's the same. On the GMC they kept the little more bubble looking.
Round, yeah.
I mean, but I feel like the one on the
That's
Chevy, the cat eye one, like that is like
Yeah, that was
probably
a
one of
great
the
truck,
best
and even
one
to
they
this
had.
day, like I very rarely use it. And matter of fact, when the deer hit your truck, I called you and said, "Hey, if you need a truck, let me know." I have that truck, and it's pretty much just sits every day.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about that for me because that was cool.
So-
How you, But continue on your list first, though.
Yeah, no. So after that one, man, it was a conundrum. So I started my business right around 2009, and the very first truck I bought was a municipal truck out of Atlanta, single cab, long wheelbase, white. I think it was DeKalb County. It had the inline six in it. I pulled my trailer for several years with that truck, and I kept my Chevrolet as my personal truck. I've always had a work truck and always had a personal truck, even when I ran multiple crews and had multiple trucks out. I always wanted to be able to tote my family around in something that was clean. That was just me personally, because I had guys in my truck, and at the end of a long day in Georgia, it smells pretty bad. So, anyways, after the 06, I ended up
and that's
buying,
a Ford. Is that a Ford something? Is that right? The inline six one?
The inline six was a Ford F-150. I actually paid $500 for it.
Oh,
and
wow.
I traded a bow. A guy posted on Craigslist. Craigslist was popping at that point. A guy posted on Craigslist. He wanted a bow, like a hunting bow, and arrow.
Yep.
I traded him $500 in the bow for that truck, and man, what a truck it was! And I can actually send you some pictures of it. I had it lettered. I had my business name on the side of it. It was not a great truck, but it did the job. So
Actually,
shortly there,
send me a picture of that. You know how you can like change the picture of each podcast? We'll put the picture of that truck as a little picture. That'd be cool.
I have some old pictures of it. So shortly thereafter, when that truck it started giving me a few issues, I took the Chevrolet, the 06, and I started working out of it. I bought a 2012 F-250 Lariat 4-door diesel. Had some problems with it fairly quick. I sold it and bought, I think, a 2015 6.0 gas 3/4 ton. After that, I bought a couple of more Ford diesels. After that, I started getting into Cummins. I remember when you bought your Skag over here in Thompson, I was in a brand new Cummins that day. I had 3 or 4 of those trucks ranging between like 2015 and 2019-20. I actually inherited my father-in-law's 02 73 diesel when I got
Which
it.
is a Ford, guys out there that are listening.
It's a Ford. I'm sorry. And that is currently the truck that pulls my 16-foot landscape trailer every day if I'm only pulling one trailer. So it's pretty much a dedicated work truck. I put a new transmission in it. I put new injectors in it. I put new glow plugs in it. And that 7.3 is a great engine. I mean, it's a solid truck. And even that era Ford, and you had one, they're just such good trucks. They don't fall apart.
Right.
So,
yeah. So what year's that? Oh, 02. So
that's an 02 7.3 extended cab, white with tan at the bottom. I don't necessarily like the tan for a work truck, but it does the job.
And is you pulling like an enclosed trailer or open trailer or what?
I have so not right now. I'm pulling two open trailers every day. So 2 16-foot black utility trailers.
I gotcha.
I've had so many enclosed trailers, Tony, and every one I've ever had falls apart because of how much use it gets. You know.
Yes. Yeah.
They just don't hold up. Anyways, and we can go more into that story about some of the reasons I'm thinking about downsizing extremely.
Right.
Anyways,
and what
after that, I had
what was the truck recently that you said you sold? You told me a couple months ago, or was it the Cummins? Like what one?
Yeah, I traded off the Cummins, and I actually bought. So my current personal truck right now, I found a 2014 Chevy 2500. Fully loaded truck. It's got 52,000 original miles on it. I bought it from an old guy with a 6.0 in it. And that's my current truck. I paid cash for it. I don't have a truck payment. What
color is it? Is it four-wheel drive?
It is four-wheel
drive. Paint the picture for guys so they can picture it in their mind.
Yeah, I got 35s on it, small level kit on the front, white Z71 3/4 ton, four-wheel drive Chevrolet pickup. And I ended up paying $27,000 for it, which I thought was a great deal because of how few miles it had on it.
Right.
So I had all these truck payments for so long. We recently got our house. We paid our house off. So that was a big blessing. So beyond that, I'm sitting here looking at my finances, and I said, I have this truck payment. It's $800 a month. I'll go to my pole barn every morning. I get in a work truck and I go to work. There's no reason for me to continue to pay this amount of money for a truck that sits predominantly.
Right.
So I sold it, took the positive equity I had. I think it was like I had about 20,000 in positive equity. I put $7,000 with it, and I bought this Chevrolet with 50,000 miles, and so far it's great. It's got a 6-liter in it, which is going to last test of time. It does the job. Everything works great on it. It was babied its whole life. It sat under a carport, and no truck payment. So that was a big thing for me. Moving away from financing zero turns, financing vehicles, financing everything, and constantly being a slave to the bank.
Yes.
I just got to a point in my life to where I couldn't do it anymore.
That's amazing. That
And beyond that, another thing that crossed my mind, I'm thinking all of this new stuff, I'm constantly having problems with it. I had the last Dodge I had was a Cummins. I had emissions issues out of it. It sat at the dealership at one point for 2 months. I'm making a payment on a truck that I'm not even able to drive.
Oh wow.
So that
Yeah.
was my reason. And so 2014, the truck I have currently, it's still it does have leather. It is a really nice truck, but as far as engine and transmission, it's got a 6L90, which is a fair transmission. It's got a 6-liter, which is a great engine. It does everything I need it to do. I'm able to keep it clean, tote the kids to school if I need to. I can take it on vacation if I need to. It's just and it's paid for. That was the biggest thing for me. So.
I agree. When it even, in my opinion, I've said this a million times, but when everything got paid off in my life, even how I see my business and everything is a little different. Like I don't need these people. You know what I mean? Like if they don't appreciate me or something, I mean that's fine. We don't have to work together. You know what I mean? Like it's a different attitude because
it changes your whole mindset, and that's. I don't want to delve. Maybe we can save the other topic for another podcast. But that's my whole reasoning behind wanting to downsize. I don't have to make as much money as I once did. I have 2 kids that go to a private school here, a small private school. It's not overly expensive.
Right.
But as far as bills, I've really cut them down, and I'm doing all this work to pay labor, and I'm struggling to find help in Georgia. I don't know about other places. Georgia it's just our area, Tony, between, me and you, our difference.
Yeah, right.
It's very difficult to find help.
Oh, it's difficult here as well. I mean, for people.
And when somebody does work, they, in 2009, 2010, when I started, I could have as many guys I wanted for $10 an hour. $10 an hour was a livable wage at that point for, a laborer. Right. Now, no one can make it on $10 an hour.
Yeah,
like you can't feed your family with $10 an hour. So you're either going to get someone who's looking for beer money, or you're going to get someone, right out of high school who knows absolutely nothing. And you're going back to training. And I don't know, I'm nearing 40 and I'm at the point, I don't want to train anybody. I don't want to get involved with that anymore. I'm going on 16 years of doing lawn maintenance, and I'm not burnt out. I love it. But at the same time, I don't have to run 2 or 3 crews anymore. I don't have to have all these trucks on the road paying insurance and hoping and praying every day that whoever's driving the truck doesn't hit someone. And, I have a lawsuit on my hands. So.
Right. And not to mention, I mean, there's so much that goes into it. It's hard. They need to make a lot of money, and just things are, I mean, truck insurance, especially if you're having a team member drive it and stuff. I mean, it's double as much as it was,
Absolutely.
10 years ago.
And
I don't know
most
why
of
that
the
is.
Places
but
that, a lot of these commercial places I cut, whether it's a plant or a hospital, doctor's office, they require commercial truck insurance, and you'd be crazy not to have it anyways if you're pulling a trailer every day. So, yeah, the insurance continues to go up and up, and as things have changed, and I don't know, man, you get to a different point in life, and you have to make changes at some point. I've really been taking notice on what you've done with your business as far as the invoicing and the card on file, and making sure that your route is as tight as possible. And, me and you haven't discussed it in length, but, I take notes even when somebody's not trying to teach.
Oh, wow.
So,
yeah.
That's that kind of stuff really, really hits home with me. And I'm thinking, I drive to Augusta, which is, for me, to Augusta is about like me driving to you every day.
I got you.
So currently I'm still doing not a lot, but I do a good bit of work in Augusta, and it nerves me because DOT's gotten worse. You have to have, DOT has so many stipulations, DOT numbers, medical card, making, over the last few months, I've had several DOT inspections. And the thing with DOT here in Georgia, they don't know that they've pulled you over before. So if one DOT officer pulls me over on a Monday, there's a chance I may get pulled over again by another DOT officer on Friday and do the same inspection. And of course, you could show them the paper if you have it, but 9 out of 10 times I may be in a different truck, or I may be, I may be doing something different. And it's just the loopholes that we have to jump through now have gotten much more stringent than they were years back.
But why do they come after you? I mean, that the work truck you have, it's not a dually or anything. Like, you're underweight.
So according to DOT, if your GVWR is over 10,000 pounds, meaning, so say I have a 3/4 ton truck and it has a 9,000 pound GVWR, even a single axle trailer puts me over 10,000 pounds.
Right. Oh, I got
So
you.
at that point, I'm subject, as long as if I'm doing business for hire, meaning I'm working for someone else,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm making money, I have to have. There's a bunch of stipulations you have to have, and I have a weigh station in between my house and Augusta. So DOT is very hot in that section of road. And I'm telling you, I don't know if in the last year they've decided they're going to really target lawn care guys, but it is definitely an issue over here, and that's coming from talking to many different people in our line of business. So that's one of the biggest things that has frustrated me. And besides that, labor, besides that, just the sheer cost of things in the economy we're in right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, but at the same time, I mean, especially if you're small, there will always be so much. There will always be more work than you or me can handle in our areas. If we we may have to take steps certain years and do more advertising or this or that, but it's out there. If we go get it, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's interesting. So 10,000. I mean. Yeah, I mean, I've never been pulled over by them, but every day, I know most of the people that own all these businesses around here. Every day I see one of my friends' companies, the box trucks. I feel like they just pull those over.
Yeah, they target the box trucks and the Isuzu's heavy.
Like, I feel like those are every day I see one of those, out in front of Reynolds, they pull them things over literally every day.
Yeah.
Why is it particularly with those? I have
noticed, like, if I pull a trailer with one, like, say I'm working on a route myself, if I pull 1 0 turn, I don't seem to have any issues, but as soon as I pop another 0 turn on that trailer and I have 2 0 turns and a guy or two in the truck, I mean, they're going to try to get me. So, but it's neither here nor there. And there are rules and regulations in place for a certain reason. I get that.
Right.
But you have these trucks that weigh 70, 80,000 pounds tearing up the roads, and you have a guy in a 3/4 ton truck and 2 lawnmowers, and you target them. I just don't understand. I have a hard time understanding it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, a lot of it is regulation. Who knows in the future, will they lower that, weight threshold eventually? I mean, that's just something that comes to my mind, like, hopefully not, but like, it's interesting.
Sorry to get off on a tangent, but that's a big thing, especially when you have guys driving trucks for you, making sure, this day and time. I'll tell you this really quick, Tony. I had a guy who was working for me. He was doing a fantastic job. 43 years old. He was from Augusta. He was driving to me every day. This has only been about a month ago. So with my business, I carry liability insurance. I carry workers' comp. I carry, a business license here in McDuffie County.
Yep.
I do everything that I'm supposed to. So that costs a lot of money in itself, just payroll taxes. The guy texts me on it's actually his dad texted me on a Tuesday evening, and he said, "Hey, Wes, I wanted to let you know," and I could read it verbatim, but I'm not going to pull it up.
Right.
In a nutshell, he said, "Hey, I want to let you know Corey won't be at work tomorrow. He checked himself into a drug rehab facility."
Oh, wow.
So the day that I texted you was the day after I got that text message.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking to myself, okay, I got a guy that's been driving my truck, that's been riding with me, that's been working for me for over 3 weeks now. And he's an active drug user. It blew my mind, And no, I didn't give him a drug test. I've been in business a long time, and I feel like I can really notice things about people, especially when you're with them every day.
Yeah.
I never had any inclination that he was using drugs. I never had any inclination that he had any type of issues. It kind of hit me like a ton of bricks. And I'm talking to my wife in the living room. I'm like, I have these customers who trust me to come to their property when they're not there, to do a job, to make sure everything gets done. And here I am with a guy who's doing God knows what, whether it's meth, fentanyl. I have no idea. I'm not even versed in drugs. So here he is using drugs, and he's at my customers' properties. I just had a big problem with it, and it blew my mind, and it really made me do a lot of thinking.
Yeah, man, so guys, let that sink in out there. I mean, that's he's facing these real problems, real time right now.
No, that's just how it went. I mean, I sent it. I called his dad and I said, "Hey," I said, "Is he okay?" He said, "Actually, because his father was super nice, ex-military guy, very, very nice guy. The guy was living with his mom and dad at 43, and that'll throw a red flag immediately. But you always, I don't know, maybe I'm the minority, but I always try to look for the good in people.
Absolutely.
I'm thinking to myself, well, he could have had a bad time, a bad run, and he's trying to get his life together. So, his dad said actually the way it went down, he was in Augusta at a red light and fell asleep in his car and bumped into the person in front of him. Police pulled him over. He has a known history of drugs, and actually, when I looked him up, because finally it bothered me so bad, I started trying to find out everything I could about it, which I should have done in the beginning, but trying to see the good in everybody, I just hired him. And come to find out, he has a history of theft. He has a history of drug use. He has a history of domestic violence.
Oh, wow. And
here I am with this guy working for me. I have no clue. And that is, at the end of the day, is a lesson learned. I will make sure that I go through the appropriate steps if I do have to hire another person that I'm not familiar with. And now granted, I've been in business for a very long time, and this is an issue that had never came about until about 2 or 3 weeks ago.
And this is getting that system down is very challenging, because it's not like there's just people sitting out there. It's going to be hard. Like there's not like people sitting out there that are, they are, $150,000 caliber people that are just like sitting around ready to come and weed eat for you. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So you're forced to, that sounds bad to say, but like you're forced to look into a bracket of people that is not 150,000 desk job person. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
the pool is slim.
But it can be done. I mean, if you think, there's massive companies doing this, and it can be a great thing. I am not saying that big businesses are bad. Big businesses, you can make a lot of positive impact in a lot of people's lives. And a lot of people that are probably some of the best people at some of these massive companies, whether it's even in lawn care or not, are people that maybe they did have problems, but they had
a history. Yeah.
Yeah. But they went through appropriate steps, and they can turn into someone that's great,
Tony, I do want to clarify to the naysayers who don't know a lot about our business. I think many people have this stigma that we can just grab anybody off the street and they can do what we do every day.
Yeah, that's
not the case.
Not true at all.
It's so not true. I think, and I've even had people jokingly say, "You can find somebody to weed trim or run a zero turn. You can train a monkey to do that." And I'm thinking to myself, I wish you would ride with me for a few days and see what I do, because it's a skill set that takes many years to develop. And I'm not saying I'm the best at it, but after many years of doing it, you have expectations of anyone that comes to work for you, and you can't just go grab somebody from Home Depot and put them on the truck with you that day and expect them to do a job that you want them to do. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. You have to build a whole way for them to see what the future could be like, tangible brackets on how to get there. To do the whole big business thing, I feel like you really have to dial in all these things. And do you and do we want to do all that? I don't.
Yeah. And that's the point that I'm finding myself in right now. It's there's a line I'm going to have to draw and decide. Hey, I'm going to have to step back and, because even right now, I'm going to Ohio next week. We'll be leaving on Wednesday evening. So I'm going to work tomorrow. I'm going to work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and leave Wednesday. But that puts my week at missing several days of work. And with having very little help right now, a lot of it falls on me. So I'm at a point to where I have to decide I'm going to have to let some things go.
Right.
Unfortunately,
Well,
but I think
and this is another thing, guys. So let's say you had a guy like the guy you were just talking about. He was excellent. So you're taking on a bunch more work, right?
Hey, you build your work around that,
And then what about when you get that Tuesday night text? Well, then what do you do? Because it's not like you're going to go out there by yourself and do twice what you can do by yourself. You know what I'm saying? So then that, you don't want customers to get let down. Then that could, hurt your reputation. It's just, it's a whole thing.
It's a whole thing. We did the podcast when I was in Notre Dame, in South Bend, Indiana. I guess it's been about a year ago or so. And my business since then has changed dramatically. And most of that has developed because of lack of people to hire, more or less. And I think my mindset has changed slightly as well to allow it to change. But predominantly it goes back to, labor and having people to do the work. Exactly what you just said. You can't build a schedule based on 4 or 5 people and try to do it yourself. It doesn't work.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's, even if you have the newest, greatest, and latest and greatest trimmer line, there's only so much more. Yeah, there's only so much more minutes you can make up.
72-inch big frame mowers, and it's not going to help me. I can't do it. So it's difficult, man. It's real world problems.
Yeah,
you have to figure out how to solve, and I don't know. I'd like to have a more in-depth conversation with you on, how you do certain things. And that's the reason I texted you. Were the first person to come to mind when I kind of had this vision of how I want to change things and do things moving forward. And I think monetarily that's because of, circumstance, that doesn't matter to me as much anymore. It just matters that I'm able to go to properties every day, do what I enjoy to do, and not have a knot in my stomach because it's something that I don't want to do.
Right, absolutely, yeah. And this is lawn care is not cut out for everyone. So yes, you can, on a nice 75-degree day, someone that has an inside job might look outside and say, man, it would be nice, be out there mowing grass. But 12 years later, when you've cut this lawn 20,000 times and it's 100 and your trailer tire blows out and then the customer yells at you, the neighbor yells at you, and these there are days like that, you know what I mean?
Sure are.
And so that's where over time, like you're saying, that's where people, I feel like they get that messed up in their mind that just if you try this for more than 2 or 3 years, it'll kind of separate the people that you have to love it to do, is what I'm saying. Like you're not just going to do this because there has to be, yes, there's excellent money in it, but you have to want it, just as I would say, just like people, like if you're going to be a professional baseball player, like you're going to have to love it so much that you're going to put in the work, the thought, the everything that goes into it to make it work, to be able to make a living doing that. It's kind of similar. It's not, as quite as high a skill set as that, but in order to make a living, cutting grass, support your family, support your retirement, pay all your insurances, do all these things, you're going to have to, want it. And that's no problem. I think that's great. A lot of you guys out there, that you're not start your business yet and you're scared and you think, like, there are a good percentage of you guys that this is for you. Like, I'm not trying to say, oh, like those of us that do lawn care, like we're bad to the bone and you guys most people can't do it. Like, that's not what I'm saying. But in order to do this for a long time and to, do this for your life, it's you're going to have to, try and see, and, but if it's, you can't talk down about our industry, it's just, there's a little more complexity in some other industries, and that like shuts off what people say bad about whatever other industries that people are in. But I think our industry is one of the best industries in the world because, hey, at the end of the day, whether COVID comes or anything else, tomorrow the sun's going to come up, the weeds are going to grow, it's going to rain. like humans can't just stop this just because they decide. You know what I'm saying? And like that's cool. Yeah. So I'm getting off topic now, but I so appreciate you like taking your time to come on here today. I could talk to you for a lot of hours, and thankfully, here's what I was gonna say. Like, as far as the solo lawn care thing, I mean, my life is a complete open book for any of you guys out there, and especially my friend Wesley. I mean, I'll show you everything. I'll show you like my whole entire budget, what comes in, I'll show you everything. You know, like I'm not holding anything back. You know, like this supports my family. My wife's able to homeschool kids and stuff. So like, you know, because that's another thing that can be construed out there. You can hear some guys talk on a podcast and they're just buying new skid steers every day because, you know, maybe their wife is a doctor and they didn't disclose that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That changes the game a little bit, you know, like for people out there. But for me, I mean, this as our, you know, main income, and it can support us great. We're going to end up, you know, upgrading our house. We're about to buy another car, stuff, all debt free. Like it can work, guys. It can work. It's not easy, but it can work, you know. And I, you know, have
I always say if it was easy, everyone would do it. So
yeah. And like I said,
hey Tony, before we go, I was curious to know, did you guys decide on a vehicle for your wife?
Not 100%. We're kind of thinking that we might buy a minivan. So don't tell anyone that, you know, because some people that is a bad thing. But there's so many things. Because what happens is, so we go and we sit in these different ones. We look at, you know, like the big Infinities and stuff, and
right.
But like for my wife, she's like, it still feels tight. It feels even tighter than like the Tahoe that we have, right?
Yeah. So you guys are having a third child. I guess the more room, the better.
Yeah, I'm coming, Willow.
And the reason I ask you about that, so when you made the podcast about, you know, upgrading her car, I was in the same boat as you. We my wife had a Lexus GX 460, which was an incredible car.
Those are incredible. Yes.
Yeah, and we looked hard at. We wanted something slightly bigger. We looked hard at the Infiniti QX80s. We looked at several others. I wouldn't look at Expeditions because of the 3.5.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I didn't really want to look at Tahoes because of all the lifter issues they're having, and we ended up buying
and the 10-speed thing that, you
and
know,
the
they have in all
10-speed,
those trucks. Guys,
we ended up buying a
just pause for 1 second. So hey Willow, can you bounce that like over there a little bit? I'm almost done. But guys out there, what year models, before we get off the truck thing, and you need to tell me what you decided, but guys don't know this, but for a lot of these later years, it was a joint venture on this 10-speed on the half-ton trucks. GM have piles of issues with the transmission, and it's the same one in the F-150s. It's a joint, like it's the same transmission, both of the brands.
Correct.
And do you know, because guys out there, you know, those like, let's say a 2019-18 half-ton, those Chevy body style, that is the coolest looking truck like I've ever seen. Like I love the, you know what the one I'm talking about, like the kind of mean looking front headlights. I have friends that have those and stuff, and I have a friend that has one, and that transmission gone. You know, like anyway. So do you know? Because guys, just be careful that the 10-speed in the Ford and the Chevys. So like the newer model ranges, if you're buying a half-ton, you may consider the Rams because they don't. The Ford and the GM have this 10-speed thing, and you know the Toyota Tundras and stuff would be good as well. You know, maybe not the new twin turbo thing, but before we get off that,
Tundras, now that the twin turbos in them, they've had a little bit of.
Do you know what year ranges it started the 10-speed thing? That's what I was going to ask you before we get off this on this Ford and Chevy, and I don't know if they come in the same model year. You know what I'm saying?
So
like, what
I know
years
for sure in the 3/4 ton, they started the 10-speed in the F series, the 250, 350 in 2020. So prior to 2019, they didn't. But I'm almost certain they put a 10-speed behind the F-150 earlier than they did the 250.
I think you're right, too. I think this thing started in 15, 16, 17 somewhere.
Could have. Yeah. As Chevy went from a 6-speed to an 8-speed and then to a 10-speed. So some of those 1,500 trucks had an 8-speed in them for a bit.
So, but sorry to interrupt about that. So I'm just telling you guys, you know, if you guys are buying a truck after this, just kind of be mindful of that the 10-speed thing. Wouldn't you agree that they should be mindful if they're buying a half-ton or 3/4 ton. Just kind of
As far as a
mindful of
work
that.
truck, you're just going to be so hard pressed to beat something that has some older technology.
Right.
It's going to be bouncing up and down the road, pulling a trailer. New stuff is made to last until the warranty is up and trade it in.
Yeah.
That's
So back
kinda how
to
it
the
goes.
car that you bought. Okay, go back to
Yeah,
that because
so
I don't know. You didn't tell me.
I did a ton of research, and we almost ended up going back with another GX 460 because that was the second one we've had. We had an RX 350 before that, so that puts us at three Lexus vehicles, and literally the only thing I did throughout any of those vehicles was change the oil, maybe change a battery, and just drive them. So we ended up buying an LX 570, which is the largest version that Lexus makes in the SUV. It's a very premium car, and it comes with a very premium price tag, but it's basically a Toyota Land Cruiser in a Lexus body.
Oh, I gotcha.
And-
So it's not like the Sequoia. It's more like the Land Cruiser shape. Is that right?
Yeah, it's very similar to a Land Cruiser. It's the biggest SUV that Lexus made until like 2021. I think they came out with a 600, but it's not even as big as the 570. So the 570 gave us more trunk room. The back seats, the third row, they fold towards one another rather than folding up. So you can let just one up if you need to. It's got a 5.7 in it with an 8-speed transmission, and that 5.7 is on to go, hundreds of thousands of miles.
Yes. Yeah.
I found one that I
Toyota
think the
engine,
one we
basically,
bought-
for guys out there.
Yeah, we bought this one. It had roughly 90,000 miles on it, and this was my take on it, Tony. I would rather take that Lexus with 90,000 miles than I would have taken an Expedition that was brand new.
Oh, absolutely. I agree.
I mean, it
100%.
was
Yeah.
a no-brainer for me. But the car's bigger. It does the job. It's a very nice. The only thing that concerns me is it does have. I don't remember the terminology they use, but it has like air ride suspension, so it lowers and raises itself.
Which that'd be nice, though. That'd be great.
Yeah, it's very nice riding, but I'm always worried about long-term reliability. Like, how long is that going to last before I have to work on it? But everything I read said it is fairly solid, and it's overall a great car. A little, like I said, it is pricey, but you get what you pay for a lot of times.
Yes.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm a fan of those. I'm a fan of all the Toyota, guys out there that are consider a half-ton truck. I feel like, the non-twin turbo, like Toyota Tundras and stuff would be a great option as well. I have never actually owned one besides that 4Runner. But anyway, I've always said the Tundras, that generation before the twin turbo, if I didn't pull, so I have several gooseneck trailers that I pull tractors, hay, etc. on, cattle stock trailer. If I didn't have to have a gooseneck hitch, I would probably own a Tundra just because of how reliable they were. Yeah. And I'm a fan of all those Toyota SUVs I really like too as well. Like the Sequoia and even like the, like Highlanders, like all those ones I like. But the thing is my wife has a couple friends that have these newer Honda Odyssey minivans, and when she looked at one of the ones that their friends have, just how they with the way those like the doors, just like how the minivan's set up. If you've never owned one, they're kind of interesting how they feel. But if you like in and out stuff, like for kids and stuff, it's I don't know. I kind of feel like I don't want to buy a van, but at the same time, she really likes that, just the way they work, right?
Are you gonna keep the Tahoe?
I don't know. Not totally sure yet. Actually, I have it on Marketplace right now, but I don't. I'm not gonna just unload the thing just for fun. I mean, I have it listed at $5,500.
I know you've always mentioned keeping it just to have a backup to pull your trailer.
Yes. Yeah. Which I don't know. Yeah, I'm not gonna unload the thing if I don't sell it in a week or something. I don't know. Maybe I sell off my Ram truck, or maybe I keep them both. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure on that. So we're still working on things. I'm still looking at some of the big SUVs and stuff too as well. But minivan is another thing that has entered into the equation, So,
nice.
There's downsides to it. Like the Hondas, 100,000 miles, you need to do a timing belt, because it's a belt, not a change.
Right.
But that is probably the main thing. If you change that timing belt at 100,000, I mean, the Honda V6 engine is pretty good. It's really good. So just I mean they haven't. I think it's called like the J35 or something. They've had that.
Yeah, a lot of
forever,
the early
you know?
Toyotas, Forerunners, and Tacomas, and even Tundras, a lot of those had timing belts, and I think it was just a service. You service a timing belt, water pump at the same time, and you're good for
Yes.
another 100,000. So
Yeah, and I think the newer anything mid 2000s up to now, I think the Toyota V6s actually have a timing chain, so that would be kind of an advantage on the Toyota minivan. But my wife doesn't like the Toyota minivan for some reason, the Sienna or whatever it is,
yeah.
So at the end of the day, I'm going to buy something that is good that she like. She also likes those new like Kia minivans. I don't think I want to buy a Kia.
Man, I wouldn't go down the Kia road.
So anyway,
It seems as though Hyundai and Kia are, and if someone's listening to this and they have one, I hate it, but it's almost as if they just make throwaway engines. They last until a certain point, and after that, they're just no good anymore.
yeah, I mean, we have
I
a
don't know.
friend.
I'm a long-term guy when it comes to vehicles.
Right.
Yes, I've had a lot, but I also think, like, I'm always thinking, not negative, but I'm thinking to myself, how much is it going to cost me in maintenance? How much is this going to cost me over the course of me owning it? And am I going to be able to keep it for 3 or 4 years without having to sell it or trade it because it's giving me major issues? So
Yeah. So those are, So we're working through all that, but man, I so appreciate your friendship. And now that my like pine straw and stuff is over, I want to try to get up and see because technically now I can do, sometime in the next couple of months I want to do that because, technically I have a 4-day week. I mean, it's a pretty, you got to fit, 7 to 8 properties every day, in the
right.
4 days.
Well,
but
hopefully soon I can get like you and I can take Fridays off as well. That would be a blessing.
Yeah, so I'm working on that. So maybe one Friday, if I can come and ride with you, and I can string trim and stuff.
Absolutely, man. Most of my properties are round up and sit on a zero turn. So I don't have a ton of string trimming, but I do have plenty of Bahia grass to mow right now because it's growing at an astronomical rate.
Yeah, with some rain we've had this summer, then mix that with some good old humid heat. That the grass like you're talking about likes to rock and roll, doesn't it?
Oh, it's crazy. I built my house in 2019 in the middle of a cow pasture. We bought the land from my mother-in-law, and literally the whole yard is nothing but Bahia. So if I spray it and kill it, I won't have any grass left.
Right.
And I have to mow it right now with the humidity that we're having. I have to mow it at minimum twice a week, if not sometimes 3 times a week.
Oh wow! So it's jumping up that quickly there.
Oh, it's crazy, Tony. It'll grow with the humidity and the heat we've had, and especially when it was raining every single day. It would grow. A few years back, I sound like a nerd when I say this, but I'm going to tell you anyways. I put a bread tie on a piece of strong Bahia after I cut it down to about 1 3/4 inches. And overnight, it grew over 3 inches.
Oh, wow.
Overnight, it grew over 3 inches. You take 2 days, it was over 6 inches. So, it's strong here, man. And it's some of the toughest grass to cut. The John Deere zero turns I use with the 7-iron deck, they seem to cut it the best, but at the end of the day, it's a difficult. I try to make it look like turf, although it's really not turf.
And guys out there probably don't even know what we're talking about. But hey, I mean, it's not even super. It is here. I don't even know exactly what I'm looking at.
Oh, and if you come up here, Tony, everything is mostly centipede with Bahia mixed in. So I mean, it's literally everywhere.
But for guys out there, it's kind of like the stalks are like hard, like they're strong, like
yeah. They're very tough, and they have. So most people would notice it by the V that when it heads out, it has a V, and like little black pieces on top of the head. So
I gotcha. Yes, yeah.
It's tough, man. It makes for a long day and a lot of dull blades.
yeah. I've been trying these Ballard Gold blades because they say that like they last 5 or 6 times longer than a regular blade, and so
right.
I put a set on. I did it a few weeks ago, and I like dated it, and I was like, I'm gonna put these on and not touch the blades until time for the expo and like see what happens with them. Like no sharpening, nothing. Like I'm just gonna put them on there. And they're like kind of like the Gator style. And I'm gonna put them on there, and I'm gonna see what happens because like there's people that have videos of like say, hey, slam right on the edge, slam this as hard as you can on this concrete curb, and see if you can dent that edge or change the sharpness of it or whatever. So like the first inch of the blade or whatever is like this tungsten material. I mean, it looks like a normal blade to me. They're gold, like
Right.
they're painted gold, but anyway, I
Keep me posted on those because currently I buy blades. I think they're Rotary brand, and I've gotten to the point that I don't even sharpen them because of the grass that I'm cutting. I'll use it. I think a set will last on a zero turn about a month, and I just pull them and put new blades on because there's by that time there's nothing you can do with it. I used to
gotcha.
sharpen a lot of blades, man, and keep them sharp, but I'm cutting. Majority of the stuff I'm cutting is just junky. I mean, you're not
right.
going to tell a difference with a sharp blade versus a slightly dull blade. And by the time they get dull enough, I pull them, put them in a bucket, and pop a new set on, and keep on trucking.
Yeah, so this would be something to check out, because they have all sales and stuff. They have one 4th of July. I don't know if it's still today or whatever, but I went ahead and bought a set for both, different sizes for both of my mowers, and they're like $60-some a set, which you can get them a little less than that, like regular blades, but I figure if it cuts way down on sharpening and stuff, it would be something to try.
How those do for you for sure. So you currently running the small stand-on in the Bobcat?
Yep, that's correct. Yeah, it's a Bobcat, like a regular zero turn, Kawasaki engine, 48-inch deck.
I went up there and got a demo from them on a 6 or 7,000 series unit. I brought it home and used it for a few days, and then took it back to them over at, I think it's Shoemaker.
Okay, yeah.
Very nice people over there. They got a nice shop.
Yeah, you're talking about you came to the new one here right by my area?
Yeah, I did. I came up there. They gave me a demo unit, and I used it for a few days.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you should have called me. I would have stopped what I was doing and come see you.
I know.
You're
I
busy.
should have. It was kind of spur of the moment, so I reached out to them, and I said, "Hey, do you guys offer a demo?" And the salesman I was talking to said, "No, we don't." And I got a call back a few days later, and the guy said, "Hey, Wes, we got you a unit to come try." So I hopped the trailer on my truck, and run up there and grabbed it, and used it for a few days, and it was a nice unit. I have a hard time. I know we have to go, but I'll have a hard time leaving John Deere just because I do feel like the units are really, really nice, and they do.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, my dad has one.
The maintenance
He likes
is so little. But the Bobcat was nice, and they were very nice up there as well. They I think don't they have aren't they they'll have a chain in Athens maybe?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And
Also, very nice people, and I think if they were willing to negotiate some too, especially when you start talking cash. So
right, absolutely. Yeah. That's the only reason why I own the Bobcat mower I have. I don't think they're like real special or anything. It's just for some reason, during the winter, and I call them, cash price. They gave it to me for so low, brand new in the Creed. I was like, well, I guess I'll try it. You know what I mean? Like, so that was. Yeah. That's why I have it. I don't think.
Let me ask you this: Have you had to bring it in for any warranty work, or has it been great?
No, it hasn't gone in for anything. I mean,
I got you.
Yeah. So
I just, I was thinking to myself, it's about, I guess, to get to their shop would take me 40 minutes, give or take. And I was thinking on, as far as any issues I had I didn't know how their service department was, and I didn't even cross that bridge with them. I just used the zero turn and took it back to them. So
yeah, I don't know. I don't, because this little shop is kind of new and stuff. I don't know exactly how the flow of that would be.
Right.
I actually bought this one from Watkinsville Power.
Okay.
The one I have. Do you know the place I'm talking about?
Yeah. I know exactly where it's at.
It used to be in like this little log cabin looking thing.
Off of 15.
Yes. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So I think 15 comes up from Greensboro. It turns into some kind of other road right through there, but they moved it. They have like a whole new shop now and stuff, but they're a really cool operation actually. I mean, they've been very successful. And their shop is now like right by like that big water tower where like that road, like if you're joining back in with 441, like going to Athens,
Yeah.
It's like right there. You can almost like see it from the main road. Pretty bigger shop, and
that off where 441 comes off of Epps Bridge over that way, or before that.
Before that, like back towards Watkinsville more.
Okay.
Yeah, like before you get, like if you're driving from here, like before you get to where like that bridge where the 10 loop and stuff back, like not that far.
Okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about. It's on this side of Watkinsville.
Yes, right. Yeah, so like I forget exactly what that road is called, but anyway, their new shop is like right there. Anyway, I bought this Bobcat, like the Lake Oconee one. It wasn't even open, at that point, of November, whatever it was last
Yeah,
year.
and
that I
it
bought
seemed like just from my experience of going over there, they specialize in more heavy equipment. They have the zero turns there, and I think they also sell Bad Boy, if
Oh,
I'm
okay.
not mistaken.
Yeah, I haven't
But
even
they kind of
there
center
yet.
themselves around bigger units, bigger skid steer type units. And maybe as time progresses, they'll be more involved in the zero turn game. But very nice people nonetheless. They were nice enough to lend me a mower and give it to me and let me take it home and use it and bring it back. So
Yeah. Well, I appreciate your time today. I could talk to
Yeah,
you.
man.
I could talk to you for 600 hours, but we won't do
Yeah.
that today. But yeah, I'm actually.
family and
I had one customer. He's having this whole. He didn't. It's funny how a customer, they communicate with you about every little thing, but meanwhile, they come Thursday to do it before 4th of July, and he has like this pressure washing company's out. I mean, there's 5, 6 guys, like tools, hoses everywhere, all around the house, all covering the driveway. Like, so I called him like, I mean, what do you want me to do about like the driveway? I mean, it's gonna be perfectly clean, and the way the grass pieces are, you're gonna have to like go up and kind of along the driveway, and like where you have to go by this one part of the house, the mower's gonna have to go on the concrete, for a second. And so I'm like, and thankfully I don't think his wife passed away and stuff. I don't think he's having company or anything. But anyway, all that being said, is I had a slot to do it at the very end of the route last week, but so I'm waiting till today. You know what I'm saying? So I have one property. I got to go back over there, Reynolds, and do that. But other than that, it's been a pretty low key weekend, which is really good. Like I don't running all around doing a million things. If I'm not going out of town and going to this and that person event, that's good. It's good with me, But,
yes, sir.
so
Well, I appreciate you having me on. Tell your father I said hello and hope all the family's well and he's doing well, and look forward to doing this again at some point in the future. So
absolutely. I like to do it in person with you sometime. And just like I tell everyone, and you've been once before, but consider come to the expo too, because it's a blast.
sure.
It's an encouraging thing, and just always know you're invited to do every single thing that I do for the entire event. You can walk right with me, do every single thing. I know you didn't do that last
That's
time,
awesome,
but
and I certainly appreciate that. And with me changing a few things, maybe I'll have the time to be able to do that this year. So
yeah. I mean, it's the whole trip is a tax write-off and all that stuff. You know how that works. So like, it's not. If you take a couple of days to do that, even last minute, you can book a hotel 15 minutes out of the way, and it's not really affected by the crowd of Expo. You know what I'm saying? So you can always, like you're saying, if you get time, before, let me know, and
yeah, and I'm gonna reach out at some point, and I want to discuss a few things further about how you're doing things, and
absolutely.
maybe that can give me some more insight on the direction that I want to go in. So.
Well, man, I appreciate you so much. Oh, so one thing I told you guys would recap, and I'm going to get off here, but just so communicating with you for years and years and years ago, YouTube and stuff like that. I think that's how it originally started. And then when I had Willow, which was, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, well, I should know exactly. She's going to be 5 in August, right?
5, that's good.
Yeah. So, a few days after she was born, she had this weird infection thing. They had to go in and like tap her spine, which is a fancy word for like drill this little part out. I mean, it was bad. So, it was okay. We got out of the hospital and I'm back to work and everything. And then this happens and we go back in the hospital, and Wesley reached out to me. He didn't know me as well as he knows me now, but he was like, "Hey, if you need help with your yards or you need me to come like help do your route, like let me know." Like he contacted me on YouTube and told me that. And then recently he told me that I could borrow one of his trucks, which is also sweet. But like that, which is also, it was crazy because I knew that first time. I knew that he meant it, and I knew he meant it about the truck too recently. But that blew me away. That's not every day that someone contacts you and says something like that. So I just want to give credit where credit is due. That's all.
Well, you're certainly welcome to anything you may need that I have. If I can ever be of any assistance, I'm 40 minutes down the road. So
I got you, bud. Yeah, and I haven't seen you since I bought that Skag, and I don't have my big church property and stuff anymore. Like you're saying, I've continuing to prune and make my business go in just like a certain way, and so I don't. I don't even have that big mower anymore. But I haven't saw you since, I don't know, what was that, 21?
Yeah,
or
no, and
something,
it was
22
just
somewhere?
happenstance that I was there that day that you came. I didn't even know you were coming. So
I called you last minute. Yes.
did you? Did you? Okay.
Yeah, I called you
thought
last
for some
minute.
reason. So the guy who owns that place, Dwayne Raven, me and him's been friends for years, and I'll stop in periodically to see how things are going over there. But yeah, you did call me. That's correct.
But still, I was surprised you were able to come. It was raining. It was some, one of them nasty winter days that we have.
It was.
Seems like
it was. Your dad was with you. We had a good visit over there.
Yeah, we drove. I remember I was at Greensboro. We were at Chick-fil-A for a minute, and that's when I called you. So like it was very last minute. Like I was like we were like en route. You know what I'm saying? And you came, hung out with us for a minute, which it's hard because I didn't really get to really hang out with you. Like you're buying a mower. You know what I'm saying? I had to like
right.
I don't know.
You had to
pay money and check this and that and. Remember they couldn't get the darn thing running?
Yeah, I know. We had running issues with it. Couldn't get it running. I hope you got a few dollars off because of it.
Yeah, I mean, I got it for a great price. I think I was somewhere. I mean, but it was the same price they told me before I came. But it was one they wanted to move out of their showroom or whatever. Like it had been sitting there, and it was
So they had just recently started selling Skag when you bought that unit. They started out with Bad Boy, and then they eased into Skag. So, They were, I guess they were trying to move some units, but I want to tell you before we leave, I appreciate you taking the time to do your podcast weekly. It's a joy for me every time I see one pop up on Spotify, and I make sure that I listen to it, no matter if it's a topic that I'm not very interested in, whether it be the one you did with the battery guy and the electric equipment. I'm not really into that, but I still enjoy listening and learning. And I know it takes time out of your day to be able to make the podcast, and it's nice to be able to be out working and have something like that to listen to.
Well, man, I appreciate that so much because it's always a thing. Like it's hard for me to I know it means a lot to guys out there, but it's hard to know, like, do I take time to put into this, or is it worth it? Doesn't matter. Do people
I
care
can't
about
speak
it?
for everybody, but I know that I've went back. I didn't start listening to your podcast until you called me and wanted me to be on the original podcast, which was about a year ago.
Right.
And since then, I've went back. I've listened to every one that you've done, even from the very beginning. So,
wow.
And what's crazy is I always find it funny. When I was going back and listening to them, it would be 100 degrees outside, and I'd be listening to one you were doing in the middle of winter, and it was raining and 30 degrees.
Oh wow!
And
yeah.
it kind of gave you a nice sense of, hey, this summer's only going to last so long, and we'll be right back into winter. And for me and you both, I think we both run our businesses to where during the wintertime we still work. But it's one, it's easier, and two, we make more money because we're not burning as much fuel. We're not burning, we're not spending as much money. So the wintertime is great here in Georgia for guys who run their business the right way and have things that go 12 months.
Right.
And there's
absolutely.
plenty of stuff to do. Don't get me wrong, but we're also not in 107 degree temperature trying to trim shrubbery, and you know what I'm saying.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean,
it's
a different ball game during the winter is what he's saying. Still a lot of work.
And
I don't like carrying around this Red Max 9000 for 9-10 hours, but so that is the downside in the winter. But it is, like you're saying, it is a little faster. I mean, it's you're just mainly dealing with the leaves and some winter pruning and and that
filling
stuff.
leaves and just appeasing everybody, making sure everything looks good, and kind of you can run your route much faster. And I know for me, I guess I can't speak for you, but I'm assuming the same. You tend to make more money in the wintertime.
Well, because I make the same like per month, but
the same, just the expenditure that goes into it during the summer is higher than in the winter. So.
Sometimes during the winter, I don't even have to bring a trailer, depending on the route.
That's
Stuff.
what I'm saying.
What
like
you're
just
saying.
saving money with fuel in the truck, saving money with fuel and zero turns and that type thing. So I always look forward to fall and winter, even though there are a lot of leaves. It just after a long summer, it's kind of nice to be able to put it in. I always jokingly say I put it in on cruise control, and just I'm able to cruise through most of them and do that. But anyways, I wanted to mention to you about listening to the Wintertime podcast in the summer because I went back and listened to every one of them. So I do enjoy it, and I think I can speak for a lot of people who who tune in every week. I don't think it goes unnoticed that you guys and I listen to the guy in Missouri, your
Yep,
friend
Cameron. Yep.
Cameron. I enjoyed listening to his. He brings up a lot of points, and I like his and yours because it's real time. It's real, just as the stuff we've talked about today. This is real life problems that I've had and that you've had, and not sugarcoating anything. It's it is what it is. I'm an open book. I don't really leave anything out for people to wonder about, and what you see is what you get with me most of the time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, thank you,
but
bud. I mean,
I do enjoy, and I know Cameron probably listens to yours.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
enjoy listening to his, and everyone who does them. I don't listen to quite as many as probably you do because I don't know as many people, but yours and Cameron's are a daily thing if you guys post for me, and I thoroughly enjoy it, so it doesn't go unnoticed.
Well, thank you, bud. I mean, Cameron's an awesome guy. He's mowing, he mows with the 72-inch mowers every day and that stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and it's always a hard.
I see a lot of similarities in the way he does things to the way that I do things. So that commonality seems to attract me to want to listen to him. And he's family oriented, which I like. He just brings up so many valid points that I think if people listen and take notes on a lot of that stuff, it would help them in their business and in the future.
Yeah, I mean, and it's just, and thank you for that. Thank you for the feedback, because I don't know, like, it's always a battle in my mind. Like, I don't want people to think that I like know something special or trying to tell people something special because I made a podcast. Anyone with 3 buttons can click and make a podcast today. You're not special because you have a podcast. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want people to think. I don't want people to think that I think that I'm something special, and so I need to make a podcast to tell you something. You know what I'm saying? I worry about that a little.
I don't think anyone thinks like that, Tony. If I was guessing, I know, to me, it's a sacrifice that you guys do for others. I mean, you hear yourself talk, so you're not. Maybe you might go back and listen to it, but you're doing it for other people. So that's why I want to make sure before we end the call that, and like I said, I can't speak for everyone, but I think a lot comes out of it that you guys might not be aware of,
Well, thank
because
you.
it's
Yeah.
so hard to
I
get
mean,
feedback on stuff like that.
Right. Yeah. If it comes alongside someone when they're out there mowing, they're having a rough day and the tire blows out and stuff, and we can just share how we're doing this together. I mean, if you want to make a podcast, that's great. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it does that, that is awesome. But I don't want people to think that I think I know something special at the end of the day, because I don't. I'm just a regular guy. I'm literally just a normal guy. I don't have like secrets or like multi-million-dollar business secrets to hand out. I feel like I don't have a good credibility all the time for it, and I don't like people in our world today that think they need to try to like be an influencer, and they think that there's something more special than they are. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want people to think that I think
I'm
that.
100% with you on that. I used to watch a lot of YouTube. I don't so much anymore, but there were so many guys who started doing lawn maintenance, not TikTok, but YouTube. And I thought to myself, like, these guys are telling all this stuff and they've only been cutting grass for a few years. Like they don't necessarily, like, they're not qualified to be able to tell others, what they need to do or how they need to run their business. And it's almost like because they blew up so fast and they got a fairly big following, then that was the credibility for them to be able to tell others how to do things. I don't know. It just kind of didn't sit well with me. I've been off of YouTube for a while just because of, I don't know. It changed. I remember back in the days when the freaky guy used to do the lawn care videos. I can't think of his name.
Greg
but
Chisholm, Geek Freak, right?
That's right. Yeah, and those were great videos, man. That was like the heyday of YouTube, and that you were doing videos right after him. So
yeah, kind of even started during that time when I started watching him. Yeah. And he's supposed to come to the expo this year. So
really,
yes.
Nice.
So yeah. So but so I appreciate that. But then the other side of the coin that I think about is like, well, what about the guy out there that someone, let's say a regular guy out there that's mowing, and he can offer encouragement or hope to someone, but he doesn't make any podcasts or YouTube because he thinks all that online stuff is stupid, right? So if that guy out there, whoever it is that maybe would make a podcast but he decides not to because he thinks it's stupid, well, who is he really benefiting with that knowledge now if he doesn't share it with anyone, you know?
Right.
So that's the other side of the coin. So that's what ends up making me like, well, I don't know. I'm not special, but, you know, every day I get emails from guys like, hey, I'm starting my business, and I found this podcast, and it's been awesome for me, and I thank you for encouraging me and help. And they ask me questions about how do I do this or that. And so that's the other side of it, that it's just like us in our business. People will think, why do you think you can have your own business? Why don't you just go down to your local factory and get a job? What makes you think you're special? You know, but if we had that mindset and we just didn't do anything, we just stayed in the rut, right?
Right.
So that's the other part of it. There's a lot more people that probably should make podcasts that are not making podcasts. And so so that's the other side of the thing as well. So I don't know. So it's something I always battle with because, you know, I don't know. I don't make money on it. It's not, you know.
I think it will always be more impactful than you can acknowledge that it is, you know. No matter how many emails you get or how many people tell you, I think there's so many more that probably listen and that you may never hear from. It's very impactful, and I think it's the dedication for you guys to do it is very nice because it benefits others. It doesn't necessarily benefit yourself, you know.
Right. Well, I thank you so much. Thank you for coming on today.
Yep.
I hope to see you soon, and consider coming to Expo, you know, if it works out
Yep.
during that time, even if it's
Absolutely. I'll be in touch with you, and if I can make it work, I may try to come join.
I still got to figure out exactly where I'm staying. We were staying at this condo thing, and then their management or their ownership changed, and they like canceled all the bookings. Anyway, so I still got to figure out what the heck I'm doing.
Well, shoot
I'm
me a
definitely
text and let me know where you're going to stay, and if I can make it work, I may go ahead and try to book something.
Okay. Well, thank you, bud. I'll get back in touch
thanks,
with you.
Tony.
I appreciate you. Thank you for taking your time today. Oh, and don't forget to send me the picture of that truck we were going to put as the picture. You know what I'm saying?
I sure will. I think I have it on my business Facebook page, which I don't post on anymore, but I have a lot of old pictures on it. So
yeah, track that down and just text it to me, and
I'll send it to you. Thank you for having me, and I hope you guys have a good remainder of your weekend. And I'll talk to you soon.
All right, bud. And we'll have you on here many more times. This is a fluid thing. This is ongoing friendship. It's not a one-time thing. There'll be many more topics, and it's cool because, you know, even if you don't have a podcast, you're able to share things that are going on in your business like you did today.
Yep.
In a combo, 2-in-1. It helps, you know, it's cool because people get something else to listen to on my podcast, and then you're able to just call in and I'm able to record it and put it on. You're like, it's cool. It works both ways to do that too as well. And thank you, and I'll let you run.
Yes, sir. I'll talk to you later, Tony. Thank you.
All right. See you, bud.
All right.
Bye.
We have cowgirl milk, but
Yeah?
we don't have pancakes.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not sure because Mama.
Well, hang on. Let me finish out this outro. Guys, we so appreciate you. My daughter's talking to me. Thank you for listening to me and my friend Wesley. What an awesome day. We got a breeze. It's hot, but we got like a breeze the last couple of days, so that's been nice. I got to go out and mow the lawn, and I got to get off here. It's 11 o'clock on Saturday. I got to go mow the lawn, and I haven't done a darn thing yet. Well, I worked on my truck a little bit, but anyway. All right. I appreciate you guys. We got to get off here. Happy Saturday. I so appreciate you. See ya.